Hey there, amazing viewers of Speak English Like a Pro. Welcome back to our channel, where we're all about helping you master English with confidence, clarity, and a whole lot of fun. Today, we're diving into something super practical and honestly life-changing. How to enhance your English listening skills, especially in those high-pressure, stressful moments when a day that feels like the words are flying at you faster than a speeding bullet. You know those situations. Maybe you're in a meeting with native speakers throwing around idioms, or you're trying to follow a heated conversation. Or maybe you're just stuck in a moment where your brain screams, "Wait, what did they just say?" Don't worry, we've got your back. This is going to be a deep dive, packed with strategies, tips, and real-world advice to help you not only survive, but thrive in those tricky listening moments. So, grab a notebook, get comfy, and let's make your English listening skills absolutely unstoppable. First off, let's talk about why listening in stressful moments feels so hard. You're sitting there trying to focus, but your heart's racing, your palms might be a little sweaty, and it's like the English language suddenly turned into a secret code you can't crack. This happens because stress messes with your brain's ability to process information. When you're anxious, your brain is in fight or flight mode, and it's not exactly prioritizing language comprehension. Instead, it's like, danger, danger, survive. So, the first step to mastering English listening in these moments is to calm that inner storm. One way to do this is by controlling your breathing. I know it sounds simple, but hear me out. When you're stressed, your breathing gets shallow, and that signals to your brain that something's wrong. Try this. Take a slow, deep breath in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4, and then exhale through your mouth for 6. Do this a couple of times before you head into a stressful situation, like a big meeting or a conversation with someone who talks super fast. It's like hitting the reset button on your nervous system, giving your brain the oxygen it needs to focus on listening. Now, let's get into the meat of it. How do you actually improve your listening skills so that even in those high-stakes moments, you're catching every word? The key is preparation meets practice. Think of your listening skills like a muscle. You don't walk into a gym and lift 100 pounds on day one, right? You start small, build strength over time, and eventually those heavy weights feel light. Listening is the same way. One of the best ways to prepare is to immerse yourself in English regularly, even when you're not stressed. This builds what I like to call your listening stamina. The more you expose yourself to English in different contexts, movies, podcasts, conversations, even songs, the more your brain gets used to picking up patterns, accents, and rhythms. For example, try watching a TV show you love, like a sitcom or a drama, without subtitles. At first, it might feel overwhelming, but stick with it. Your brain will start to recognize common phrases, and over time, you'll notice you're catching more without even trying. Let's take it a step further. When you're practicing listening, don't just passively hear the words. Engage with them. This is where active listening comes in. Active listening means you're not just letting the words wash over you. You're mentally involved, like you're part of the conversation. One way to practice this is by summarizing what you hear. Let's say you're listening to a podcast episode. Pause it every few minutes and say out loud in your own words what the speaker was talking about. It could be as simple as, "Okay, they just said they're planning a trip to Italy and they're excited about the food." This forces your brain to process the information, not just hear it. Over time, this habit will help you stay focused even when stress tries to derail you. Now, let's talk about those stressful moments specifically, because that's where the real challenge lies. Picture this. You're in a meeting, your boss is speaking a mile a minute, and you're supposed to respond intelligently. Your brain's in panic mode, and it feels like you're missing half the conversation. Here's a game changer. Focus on keywords. You don't need to catch every single word to understand the gist. Native speakers often emphasize the most important words in a sentence, the nouns, verbs, and adjectives that carry the meaning. For example, if someone says, "We need to finalize the project timeline by next week," the key words are finalize, project or timeline, and next week. If you catch those, you've got the core of the message. Train yourself to listen for these by practicing with short audio clips. Find a news segment or a YouTube video, listen to a sentence, and write down the 3 or 4 most important words. Then, see if you can piece together the meaning. This skill is like a superpower in stressful situations because it lets you stay in the game, even when you're not catching everything. Another strategy for those high-pressure moments is to lean into context clues. English speakers often give you hints about what they're talking about through their tone, body language, or even the situation itself. Let's say you're at a coffee shop and the barista is talking fast, asking you something about your order. You might not catch every word, but you can use the context. The fact that you're ordering coffee, the menu board behind them, their hand gestures, to figure out what they're asking. Maybe they're pointing at the milk options and saying something like, "Do you want oat, almond, the regular?" Even if you only hear oat and regular, the context tells you they're asking about milk. Practice this by putting yourself in real-world situations where you can observe context. Go to a local cafe, a store, or even a park, and just listen to the conversations around you. Try to guess what people are talking about based on their gestures, expressions, and the setting. It's like detective work, and it makes listening less intimidating. Let's not forget about the power of anticipation. This is a huge one for stressful moments. If you know you're heading into a situation where you'll need to listen carefully, like a job interview or a class discussion, prepare in advance. Think about the topic and the kind of vocabulary that might come up. For example, if you're going to a business meeting, brush up on words like deadline, a budget, a strategy, or feedback. If you're watching a medical drama, look up terms like diagnosis or procedure. When you're familiar with the vocabulary, your brain doesn't have to work as hard to process it in the moment. You can practice this by creating a word bank before any big listening event. Write down 10 to 15 words you think might come up and review them. It's like giving your brain a cheat sheet so when the stress hits, you're not starting from scratch. Now, here's something a lot of people overlook. Your mindset matters just as much as your skills. If you go into a stressful situation thinking, "I'm terrible at listening, I'm going to mess this up," guess what? You're setting yourself up for struggle. Instead, flip the script. Tell yourself, "I'm learning, I'm improving, and I can handle this." This positive self-talk might sound cheesy, but it works. Your brain believes what you tell it. If you approach a conversation with confidence, even if it's just a tiny bit, you're more likely to stay calm and catch more of what's being said. Try this little trick. Before a big listening moment, take a second to close your eyes. Picture yourself understanding the conversation and say to yourself, "I've got this." It's like a mental pep talk, and it can make a huge difference. Let's talk about accents for a minute, because they can be a real hurdle in stressful situations. English is spoken all over the world, and every region has its own flavor. British, American, Australian, Indian, you name it. If you're not used to a particular accent, it can feel like you're listening to a different language. The solution? Expose yourself to as many accents as possible. YouTube is a goldmine for this. Search for videos of people from different English-speaking countries talking about the same topic, like cooking, travel, or tech. Listen to how a British chef describes a recipe versus an American or Australian one. Notice the differences in pronunciation, speed, and slang. The more you do this, the more your brain gets comfortable with the variety. And when you're in a stressful moment, like trying to understand a colleague with a thick accent, you'll be less thrown off because you've trained your ear to adapt. Another thing that trips people up in stressful moments is slang and idioms. Native speakers love throwing these into conversations, and they can make you feel like you're missing the whole point. For example, someone might say, "Let's touch base later." And you're sitting there thinking, touch what, a baseball? The trick here is to start building your idiom vocabulary. Watch movies or TV shows that are heavy on casual conversation. Think Friends, The Office, or even reality shows. When you hear a phrase you don't understand, pause and look it up. There are tons of online resources, like idiom dictionaries, that explain phrases like kick the bucket or spill the beans. Keep a running list of these and review them regularly. Over time, you'll start recognizing them in real conversations, and they won't throw you off as much, even when you're stressed. Let's get real for a second. Sometimes, no matter how much you prepare, you're going to miss something. And that's okay. The worst thing you can do in a stressful moment is freeze up or pretend you understood when you didn't. Instead, have a few go-to phrases in your back pocket to buy yourself time or clarify. For example, you can say, "Could you repeat that one more time, please?" Or, "Just to make sure I got it, are you saying—" These phrases are polite. They show you're engaged, and they give you a chance to catch up. Practice saying them so they feel natural. The more you use them, the less awkward they'll feel, and the more confident you'll be in asking for clarification when you need it. Another pro tip for stressful moments is to train yourself to listen for the big picture, rather than getting hung up on every detail. Sometimes we get so caught up trying to understand every single word that we miss the overall message. Instead, focus on the main idea. For example, if someone's giving a presentation, they might use a lot of technical jargon, but the main point could be something simple like, "We need to increase sales." If you catch that, you're already ahead. Practice this by listening to TED Talks or other speeches and summarizing the main idea in one sentence. This helps you stay calm in stressful situations because you're not overloading your brain with unnecessary details. Now let's talk about technology, because we're living in an age where you have tools at your fingertips to boost your listening skills. Apps like Audible, Spotify, or even YouTube have tons of English content you can use to practice. Find a podcast or audiobook that matches your level. Start with something simple if you're a beginner, like a storytelling podcast, and work your way up to more complex ones, like interviews or debates. Many of these platforms let you adjust the playback speed, which is a fantastic way to train your ear. Start at a slower speed, like 0.75x, and gradually increase it as you get more comfortable. This is like interval training for your listening skills. It pushes you just enough to improve without overwhelming you. Another tech trick is to use transcription tools. There are apps and websites that can transcribe audio in real time, which can be a great way to check your understanding. Listen to a short clip, write down what you think you heard, then compare it to the transcription. This helps you spot patterns in what you're missing. Maybe it's certain sounds like the versus T, or maybe it's fast speech blending words together. Once you know your weak spots, you can target them in your practice. For example, if you struggle with blended words like gonna or wanna, search for videos that explain connected speech in English. It's like shining a flashlight on the parts of listening that trip you up. Let's not forget about the power of repetition. Repetition is your best friend when it comes to listening. When you hear something multiple times, your brain starts to recognize it automatically. This is why songs get stuck in your head. Your brain loves patterns. Use this to your advantage. Pick a short audio clip, a movie scene, a podcast segment, or even a news report, and listen to it 3 or 4 times in a row. The first time, just listen. The second time, try to pick out keywords. The third time, see if you can summarize the main idea. By the fourth time, you'll be amazed at how much more you understand. This works wonders for stressful situations because it trains your brain to stay calm and process information even when it's coming at you fast. Now, let's talk about real-world practice because all the apps and exercises in the world won't help if you don't put yourself out there. Find opportunities to listen to English in real life. If you live in a place where English isn't widely spoken, look for language exchange groups, either in person or online. Platforms like Meetup or Tandem can connect you with native speakers who want to practice your language in exchange for English. These conversations are great because they're low stakes. You're not being judged, and you can ask for clarification without feeling embarrassed. If you're in an English-speaking environment, take advantage of it. Go to events, join clubs, or even strike up a conversation with a stranger. The more you practice in real situations, the less stressful those moments will feel over time. One thing I want to emphasize is the importance of patience. Listening is one of the hardest skills to master in any language because it's so passive. You can't control the speed or the words coming at you. But every time you practice, you're getting better, even if it doesn't feel like it. Celebrate the small wins. Maybe you understood one more sentence in a conversation than you did last week. Maybe you caught a joke in a movie without needing subtitles. Those moments add up, and before you know it, you're listening with ease, even in the most stressful situations. Let's wrap this up with a little challenge for all you Speak English Like a Pro viewers out there. This week, I want you to try one of these strategies every day. Monday, practice your breathing before listening to a podcast. Tuesday, focus on key words in a YouTube video. Wednesday, use context clues at a local cafe or store. Thursday, anticipate vocabulary for a specific situation. Friday, work on your mindset with some positive self-talk. Saturday, expose yourself to a new accent. And Sunday, repeat a clip multiple times to see how much more you understand. Thank you so much for joining me today on this journey to enhance your English listening skills. You're not just learning a language. You're unlocking a world of opportunities, connections, and confidence. Keep practicing, keep pushing, and most importantly, keep believing in yourself. You've got this, and we're here to support you every step of the way. If you loved this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and ring the bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, this is Speak English Like a Pro, signing off. Keep listening, keep learning, and let's make those stressful moments a thing of the past. See you soon.